Okay, I have the live transcription on, so if anybody wants to turn their captions on, they can. And Mayor, you could start.
Welcome everyone to the regular meeting for the Board of Trustees for February 22nd, 2022. Is there a motion to open the meeting? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor. Meeting is hereby open. We please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As if anyone is watching, or for those of us who are here, you'll see that there are some trustees that are not present. Trustee Sullivan, Trustee Patino, they are excused. Tonight, we will be going forward with 5 trustees, and the instructions on how to attend the meeting virtually and how to participate in the meeting virtually have been posted online. Okay, moving forward, we have some appointments to make. I think the first appointment that we're going to make is to consider a resolution appointing Yaro Hidalgo as police officer off of the permanent police officer list. I think in support of this, we have a resolution, and I know the police chief has spoken about it. Is there anything you want to add to that, Melissa? I don't know I think if you have any other information regarding this.
I think the officer is attending.
Great, so let's move him up.
I have Rob
as well
Mazie
as
on.
Lieutenant Mazie from the police department.
Great.
I just
can let
promoted
him in.
Rob to a panelist. Rob, can you hear us?
Yes.
There you
Rob is welcome. Is there anything you would like to add? I'm sure there is.
Regarding the
Yes.
appointment.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Board. Thank you for this opportunity. As you're aware, there are 2 vacancies in the police department. At this time, we're prepared to fill one of the vacancies. So we requested the list from Westchester County, the police officer list, to fill the vacancies. And the list was canvassed, and we identified a candidate whose name is Jairo Hidalgo. He comes to us from NYPD, where he has served for the last 7.5 years. So at this time, we'd like to recommend Jairo Hidalgo be appointed as a police officer in the village of Dobbs Ferry, effective February 23rd at 001 hours.
Okay. Is he here?
Yes, he is here.
Let's.
Wait, it's there.
There
he is.
Hi,
There he is.
How are you?
Good.
Hi,
Well,
Harold Dago. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. Welcome to Dobbs Ferry.
Thank you, sir.
Usually we would have this in person and we would have you give a little talk and welcome your family and whatever. So is there anything you'd like to tell us about yourself before we go forward? To put you on the spot like this.
I know. Well, my wife and my son are here. Those are only 2 other
Oh,
family members.
okay.
Come on. My son Lucas.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you? So
Again, welcome to Dobbs Ferry.
Thank you. Like Lieutenant said, I have 7.5 years of experience. We just moved recently to Valhalla, so new growing family. And I'm just looking forward to work in a river town. I grew up to a town similar to Dobbs Ferry. I grew up in Sleepy Hollow. So
Okay.
I'm very happy to be a part of the new community and give a good impact to Dobbs Ferry.
Well, we welcome you. We welcome your family. And let me just do the resolution and then it's a done deal. Okay.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So as we've heard from the lieutenant, and the resolution is therefore be it resolved that Jairo Hidalgo is hereby appointed as police officer in the village of Dobbs Ferry, effective on February 23rd, 2022, at step 3 in the amount of $88,004, with such appointment subject to the mandatory probationary period of up to 52 weeks. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. Congratulations. We look forward to
Thank
seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Our next appointment is to consider a resolution appointing Dan Romer as the building inspector off of the permanent building inspector list. Melissa, do you want to add to that?
Sure. Dan's been with the village for quite some time. And I know that this was a discussion prior with my predecessor, Richard Lyons, that this would be the anticipated movement forward. I have good feelings about Dan as the building inspector and moving the department forward into the future.
Great. Dan, is there anything you'd like to say before we make this decision?
I would just like to thank you, the mayor, the board, Melissa. I look forward to running the building department. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be greatly improved in a lot of ways.
Okay, looking forward to it. So is there a motion to appoint Dan Romer as the building inspector? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosenberg. I just want to read the part of the resolution so everyone is aware of it. Whereas in accordance with the civil service rules of the Westchester County Department of Human Resources, such appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 and not more than 52 weeks. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Daniel Romer is hereby appointed to the position of building inspector in the village of Dobbs Ferry, effective retroactively to January 6th, 2022, at the annual salary of $136,585, with such appointment subject to mandatory probationary period of up to 52 weeks. All in favor? And that passes unanimously. Congratulations, Dan. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
We'll look forward to working with you. Action item, appointment number 3 is to consider a resolution appointing Linda S. Davidson and Isabel Cruz-By as members of the Youth Services Council, each for a term of 3 years. In support of that, we did receive a letter from Paula McCarthy, of the chair of the nominating committee, as well as a little bit of information, background information about the candidates and their qualifications and their interest. So is there a motion to appoint Isabel Cruz-By and Linda Davidson to the Youth Service Council? Trustee Taylor, second. Rosen Asher, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. I'd like to welcome them to the committee, and I want to thank them for stepping up and taking the time to attend those meetings. I know they are at night. I used to be the liaison there, so I know they are at night, and they do involve weekends and a lot of time. So we look forward to them and also reinvigorating the committee. Appointment number 4 is to announce the appointment of Janet Rossoff as member of the Ad Hoc Sustainability Task Force for a term of 1 year, as recommended by the nominating committee. In support of that, we did receive a letter from the nominating committee and some background on Ms. Rossoff. So I take great pleasure in announcing her appointment to the Sustainability Task Force. Moving on, we are at courtesy of the floor. Is there anybody here to speak?
No, no one has their hand raised.
This is 3 weeks in a row, so maybe 3 meetings in a row, which is very unusual. Is there anybody out there at all?
Yes, Neil DePasquale is here.
There's a storm building, Mayor.
True. Okay. Let's move on then to discussion and resolution of items. We have a discussion to consider a resolution to authorize the village to request bids for the Main Street Sidewalk Improvement Project. We have spoken about this and dealt with this project for quite a period of time. I know that we're ready to move on with this. Melissa or Laura Lee, can you explain to us what we're doing with this resolution?
Certainly. The bid specs were prepared. They were ready to be distributed in accordance with the final review by the Department of Transportation. The process is that they'll be advertised, and they did hit the local advertising this week and also on the Business Council. So it appears as though your next step will be to have Mr. Palmer come in at the close of the bid spec period, and he'll be providing a recommendation. So you'll be awarding a contract at that time. So this just acknowledges that the most recent revisions were done and approved by Department of Transportation. It acknowledges the fact that the appropriate next step is to submit the spec and make it public for receipt of proposals and response. So there's no mandatory legal requirement, but it is appropriate to have this included in your record so you knew what the next steps were and what direction the project has taken at this point.
Okay, I'm just going to read the bottom part of the resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved, having received necessary determination from the New York State Department of Transportation, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Dobbs Ferry hereby authorizes and directs that all steps be undertaken to commence appropriate procurement measures, including the solicitation of competitive bids necessary for construction of the above referenced project. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. Next item is to consider a resolution amending the medical benefit section of the Village of Dobbs Ferry personnel regulations. As trustees, we have reviewed the conditions of employment, and we've decided to make a change. And I think, Melissa, maybe you could explain to the public what the change is and why we did it.
Yes, Mayor. In order to attract more viable candidates from other municipalities who have experience in other municipalities, the board reviewed the personnel regulations for the non-union members of the staff of Dobbs Ferry, which prior to tonight required a 10-year service requirement with the Village of Dobbs Ferry. What this resolution is proposing is to change that term to allow for candidates who have experience in other municipalities where they served under the NISHIP health insurance plan to have up to 5 years of a service credit, which means that if they served 2 years elsewhere, they would get 2 years of service credit. If they served 20 years elsewhere, they would get 5 years of service credit, with an additional 5 years of service credit owed to the Village of Dobbs Ferry, with a contribution of 20% as an active employee and into retirement.
So what we've done in essence is we've made it more attractive for people to work here by easing the restriction with regard to the amount of time that they have to work here to qualify for the medical. But in return for that, we have increased the amount that they will have to pay into while they're working here and into retirement, correct?
That's correct, Mayor. What we found is that some candidates who have the experience in other municipalities that we would like to have serve us here in the Village of Dobbs Ferry could not come here because they've already served in their municipalities and would have to start over serving an additional 10 years in the Village of Dobbs Ferry to be eligible to receive medical benefits into retirement. So what this is doing is giving them service credit for working elsewhere with an additional requirement that they serve 5 more years here.
Okay,
with the higher contribution as well,
right.
starting
have any-
March 1st.
When you say starting March 1st, employees who are hired as of March 1st.
Correct, who are hired on or after March 1st, 2022.
Okay, any comments by the trustees?
Well, I would just like to point out that when we were discussing this in our advice of council meeting, the question was asked whether there would be any significant financial impact to the village from this. And Jeff's answer was that there would be negligible to no impact. So this appears to be essentially a benefit that we can offer that is not going to leave us in any hole.
That's a good point. Yes. Thanks for raising that issue.
I'd also just like to provide that Melissa worked carefully with the Labor Council too, to be sure that the language is appropriate, that the village can be assured that they have the authority to make the policy change. So Labor Council did provide input, collaboratively worked with Melissa and myself, and you have before you a policy change which could lead to very positive results, being able to do lateral moves with qualified and experienced candidates. And it's a pervasive problem with getting for especially higher level positions to be able to get someone who can come in and they like to say hit the ground running. So it's an option. It can be certainly an opportunity. So I'm happy to see that you're positive about undertaking this policy change.
Right, and as I think Matt pointed out, that the fiscal effect will not be changed significantly or at all. And I think we've made two changes in the last month where we've expanded the pool of people that we could draw from. And I think it has, increases up the pool, and it increases the type of people that we want to retain, hire as employees for Dobbs Ferry. So we are taking proactive action with regard to the hiring of our staff. So I'm going to just read part of it. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but some of it. And I think it's relevant. Whereas the personal regulations currently has a requirement mandating 10 years of service with the village for any full-time non-union village employee to be eligible to receive medical benefits into retirement. And whereas the village board is considering modifying this 10-year service requirement to address its impacts on the village's ability to hire and retain the best employees for department head and other full-time non-union positions. And whereas to broaden the pool of experienced and qualified candidates for department head and full-time non-union employee positions, and with the knowledge that NYSHIP requires a minimum of 5 years of benefits, eligible service for vested benefits, the village proposes to permit credit for full-time service with other public employers who participate in a NYSHIP medical insurance plan for employees who commence full-time employment with the village of Dobbs Ferry after March 1st, 2022. And whereas this policy change will supersede the terms of the personnel regulations only as specifically set forth below, and the personnel regulations will be modified accordingly. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the terms and conditions of employment set forth in the personnel regulations for non-union employees and department heads will be modified as set forth below, with the remaining items and conditions to remain unchanged. Is there a motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. So we can get that moving. That's great. Next item is a discussion and a resolution. We have to consider a resolution adding Michael Morales as a member of the Dobbs Ferry Volunteer Fire Department and to have his name placed into the active insurance rolls. We received a memo from Joseph Giuliano, Assistant Fire Chief, dated February 10th, 2022, advising us that Michael Morales has been elected to the fire department. He's met all the requirements, and we're being asked to appoint him. So is there a motion to appoint Michael Morales as a volunteer firefighter for the Dobbs Ferry Fire Department effective February 23rd, 2022? Trustee Rosenberg, second trustee Casal, all in favor? That passes unanimously. We want to thank Michael for stepping up and volunteering. We cannot state enough how much we appreciate our first responders and our volunteers especially. So we thank you, and our lives literally depend upon your training and your willingness to get involved. So thank you once again. Action item number 4 is to establish a schedule for public workshop, public hearing, and the tentative adoption date of the fiscal year 2022-2023 budgets. I know we have a resolution which will establish March 16th as the public workshop. The public hearing will be scheduled for April 12th, and the Board of Trustee meeting will be voted on at the meeting of April 26th, 2022. I just want to advise everyone that the public workshop is not a place where the public can speak. That is a workshop where the department heads will appear with their budgets and their requests, and then the Board of Trustees will listen and evaluate their requests and ask questions. So while it is public, there is not an opportunity at that particular meeting for the public to participate and offer an opinion. That will be done at the public hearing on April 12th, 2022. That's when the public has an opportunity to give their opinion. We could also receive emails, letters regarding that after the public workshop. So do you want to share anything, Jeff, with that? Add anything?
No, I think you covered everything with that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just to, well, obviously it's not a forum for members of the public to comment. For members of the public who are interested in more budget details and are interested in the deliberations, the trade-offs, and the way that we make those decisions as a board, they're obviously more than welcome to listen to that forum, either in person, online, or whatever way is most convenient, so that they can understand that process.
Right.
Mayor,
Yes,
Shari just commented and said April 2nd is a Saturday.
it's April
It's
12th.
April 12th.
Oh,
If I said the second, I'm sorry. So let me say that again. If I said it incorrectly, it's March 16th at 6 o'clock at the Village Boardroom for the public workshop. The public hearing is April 12th at 6:30 at the Village Boardroom. And the adoption of the budget will be intended to be on April 26th, 2022 at the Village Boardroom. Okay. Is there a motion? Melissa, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I look forward to working on the budget with Jeff. We've been doing
Okay.
well.
She says she looks forward to it and she's smiling. So, okay.
Still,
It's her
Okay.
first time, she'll learn.
So is there a motion to schedule the public hearing, public workshop, and the tentative adoption date of the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget as I've outlined? Trustee Rosen Asher, second trustee Taylor, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. Action item number 5 is to schedule a public hearing regarding the proposed revisions to the village code, expanding the tree preservation and mandating restoration. So we have worked on this for a number of meetings now, and I know a lot of people have put a lot of time and effort into it. I think we're ready to move forward on it. And Laura Lee, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the next step to get this included as a law is to schedule a public hearing where we could receive public comments, if any, and discuss it further. And then we could move forward and vote on that. So is that the correct procedure?
It is a procedure. Tonight's resolution calls for the final drafting and also for the necessary circulation. I'll be working with the clerk's office to be sure we provide the additional level of notice required when any revisions are made to a local zoning code. So we're aware that village law trumps your local code, and we'll be providing the additional notification. As an example, the clerks of the adjoining municipalities will be getting notification. They have a right to receive notice, and we'll be sure that everything's done. Valerie and I will also be working on getting the submission to the county. The county takes a minimum of, they require by law, under general municipal law, a minimum of 30 days to consider code revisions, zoning code revisions. So this is why we've set the hearing that far out in advance. We'll be prepared that evening to make any necessary changes on the record that you need, and you could also proceed to pass and adopt a resolution with reference to the environmental review under seeker as well. So
Okay, so I just want to read part of the relevant parts of this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that as the sole approval authority for the above detailed action, the Board of Trustees hereby declares itself the lead agency for purposes of SECRA, and based on review of Part 1 of the EAF, determines the proposed zoning revisions to be an unlisted action. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees calls for a local law to be drafted reflecting the proposed amendments to the village zoning text, and calls for the scheduling of a public hearing to receive comments on the above referenced law in the Village Hall on Tuesday, March 22nd at 6:30, in which such hearing to be conducted in accordance with the law. Be it further resolved that once drafted, the above referenced local law proposing zoning amendments and a notice of hearing shall be referred, circulated, posted, and published in other ways made available by the village clerk in accordance with applicable laws. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? And that passes unanimously, so it'll be put on for March 22nd. Okay. And the last item would be a resolution approving the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer. Jeff, do you want to add anything?
No, it's a typical, just a claims audit, nothing, unless there's questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? And that passes unanimously. Okay, that brings us to the liaison reports. I'll just go around. Trustee Casal, do you have anything? You're on mute, but I gather you shook your head no, so I mean, I guess you have
I'm
nothing.
sorry. No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Taylor?
The one thing I would mention, it's not as much a liaison report as, I guess it's an announcement that the school foundation is planning to do its annual gala and fundraiser on May the 20th, and hoping to do so at Waterfront Park. They're in the approval process for that right now, but that's an ongoing thing for the school foundation, and it's an event that many people look forward to. So.
Okay, Matt, do you have anything?
No, the HRB meeting was on Valentine's Day and everybody had something better to do.
Okay, Shari, do you have anything?
Yeah, just the, can you hear me? Because I can't hear myself, so. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, the Human Rights and Diversity Committee is still looking for members, and they did draft some membership parameters to kind of give people an idea about what it is and what the commitment is, but I'd like you to just look that over. And I know that I think the permit now is officially filed for the Pride celebration, so we're good for that. And then it's, Black History Month is wrapping up. And so I think there's a couple of more things. The county's having an event on a Thursday night through Facebook, their Trailblazers Awards. So that's always a fun evening. It's better in person, but still good by Zoom. That's it.
Okay, thank you. I just want to, again, thank the Human Rights Diversity Committee for all the hard work they've done. As Shari has indicated, it's Black History Month. They put out a lot of information. They've raised a lot of awareness. I want to thank them again for their efforts. We look forward to more information and guidance from them. As an announcement, I know that Shari and I attended the ribbon cutting at the Look Cinema, which was very well attended. I didn't get to see a movie. I don't know if Shari did or not, but I didn't get to see a movie.
I started it and I walked out. I was like, I'm very tired. And I did have a little wine beforehand. So, yeah.
So it was
It's beautiful. And I think everyone should go. They're a great addition to the village. It's a really nice guy. Looking forward to the restaurant. And it's important that we all support local businesses.
Yes. So, yes, it was very well attended and looks beautiful, and we're looking forward to their continued success. So, we thank them for trusting in Dobbs Ferry, and we hope that the village will support them. So, any other announcements by anybody? Okay. Is there a motion therefore to adjourn the meeting? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor?